Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction of myself. It is my honor to make a presentation in front of the leaders in the cable industry from all over the world. It is my honor to make a presentation in front of you. Today, I'd like to make some innovative idea, because sometimes I hear from my colleagues that it is very difficult to make innovation in the cable industries or some B2B industries. But I think differently, because if we change our minds slightly differently, then we have lots of opportunities and we can make lots of innovation in our industries. Today, I would like to share some idea about how we can enhance the electrical power system in the GCC countries. And today's idea is on the basis of our idea, but we can share together continuously, and we can share how we can enhance or innovate our system. Next step. Let me begin with a brief introduction of our company, while most of you know our company very well. LS Cable has been established in 1960s as a member of LG Group. At that time, and then in 2003, LS Group has been spun off from LG Group in order to focus on the major business, concentrate on our major business. At that time, LG Group has been divided into three companies. LG Group is focused on consumers, electronics, and chemicals. And GS Group is focused more on retail and oil and gas business. And LS Group is focused more on industrial business such as electricals and so on, and materials business. LS Group is composed of 40 different companies, and LS Cable is the flagship company of LS Group. On the total sales revenue of LS Group is about 18 billion US dollar, and our asset is similar. Under the umbrella of LS Group, LS Cable and System, LS Industrial System, LS Nickel Copper, and all related cable companies are working independently and sometimes make a cooperation, because there are lots of overlapping areas. Now, I would like to begin our suggestion for improvement of a grid solution. As I told you, I'd like to consider how we can make an improvement from our enhanced technology. And basically, I'd like to begin with new idea on metallic sheets and long-length cable. As market has been diversified, so is the demand of our client. So our clients need more efficient cable, more compact cable for easy installation in the limited area, and so lighter cable for easy installation as well. So in order to satisfy our client, we are in front of the development of the insulated coated cable, which is enamel wire, and high stress cable system, and new cable sheet type such as aluminum cable sheets. High resistance. The problem is that it is very heavy and also very toxic to the environment. And copper wire string cable with laminated tape might be light in weight and small in diameter. So it is very easy to handle. However, the expensive price might be the challenging point of this cable. Secondly, however, on the other hand, aluminum sheet type of cable might be very price competitive and light in weight in general. However, the performance might be not so inferior compared with conventional sheet type of cable. Let's specify more comparison in specific items. Aluminum sheet type cable might be the lightest, smooth welded aluminum cable might be the lightest cable in the weight. And the copper wire is the lowest in the waterproof, but all other cable type might be very similar waterproofing characteristics. And lead sheet type might be only less eco-friendly cable sheet type. And all other sheet type might be very eco-friendly. And as per the diameter of the cable, only aluminum corrugated cable might be the largest in diameter, but all other cable types might be very similar in size. And this index is from 400 kb, 2,500 square millimeter of cable. And as price-wise, as you see, imagine the aluminum sheath type of cable, both of aluminum sheath type of cable might be the more economic than conventional sheath type of cable. And as for the performance, while the copper wire with laminated tape might be the most successful thanks to its lowest eddy current rate, but another aluminum sheath type of cable is also manageable. And as per the strength against the mechanical impact, aluminum sheath type might be most strongest. And now let's focus more on the price and the performance of the sheath types of cable. As I told you, the aluminum sheath types of cable might be more economic compared with the conventional sheath type of cable between more or less 5 to 15% lower price, lower cost. And as per the performance, the aluminum sheath type of cable is not so inferior compared with conventional sheath of cable. Of course, the difference of the cost and empacity might vary according to the several factors such as metal price, or sheath thickness, or conductor size. Also, site condition or installation technology might affect differently according to the sheath type of cable. However, from this result, we can consider that if the new type of sheath type of aluminum sheath type of cable might be the good solution with not too inferior against to the conventional sheath type of cable. So only if we can design the grid very carefully, then we can save much time and money thanks to new aluminum sheath type of cable. Here, as a result, we strongly suggest that it's time to consider aluminum sheath type of cable more generally in GCC countries. More than that, even among the aluminum sheath type of cables, we think that the smooth welded aluminum cable might be very attractive option in many cases. Thanks to lightweight and small diameter of smooth welded aluminum cable, we can easily install not in the direct barrier, but in the tunneling system as well. Additionally, it has good resistance against heat. It is very good solution, especially in the extreme atmosphere of the Middle East region. So I think it is very good time to consider about how we can make use of this smooth welded aluminum sheath in many cases in the Middle East. Now, I would like to take your interest to the cable itself from the metallic sheath. As you know, usual cable length for high voltage cable for 130 kV or 400 kV in GCC countries length from 500 meter to 1,000 meter usually. And our drums, our manufacturing facilities, and our delivery system fit with this length of the drum. However, if we have ability to manufacture a little bit longer cable length of drum, we have more chances and more benefit and more choices. It is the reason why LS Cable want to suggest long length drums of cable, not always, but in some special cases. Assume the two cases. First case might be that there is the narrow strait of the ocean between the land and the island. Or otherwise, please assume that our client don't want to make lots of joint pay due to the conflict with third parties or landlord of the properties. Inevitably, in this case, we need to sacrifice lots of budget and time. In the first case of the narrow strait of the ocean, we need to consider only subsea cable which costs larger for manufacturing and much larger for installation. And in the second case, our client or we need to consider bypass or reroute the cable route, which might be much longer than our previous plan. However, if we have another option of long-length cable, then we can save the time and money seriously. Especially in the comparison between underground power cable and subsea cable. Underground power cable is very cost-effective and less influence on ocean ecosystem. As you know, LS Cable also manufactures submarine cable, subsea cable. And as a marketing manager and sales manager, I also need to marketing the subsea cable. So I only want to mention that if we have several options of long-length cable, then we can suggest multiple options to our client between long-length cable of underground power cable as well as subsea cable. But I don't want to expand longer than 2,000 meters or more than that in order to sacrifice our subsea cable business. And thirdly, fewer number of the joint bay with long-length cable might minimize the conflict with landlord or RTA or other public service providers. Now I would like to briefly introduce our two cases of long-length cable. First is the US 345 kV project. This is conducted in the east coast of the US and Newark Bay. At that time, our client want inexpensive or economic solution for connecting from mainland to the island. We got to know that the length of the bay is only 1,500 meters. So we suggest 345 kV cable with long length. And then, as cable is 2,500 square millimeter and cable length is 2,001 meter, there are several barriers that we need to overcome. First, instead of land transportation, we need to use the barge directly from the port in US to the site. Also, we need to consider the submarine factory for insulation because we only have 200 tons of crane in our submarine cable plant in Korea. For your information, we have two factories in Korea. One is for submarine and the other is our cable. And both of factories can manufacture underground and submarine cable both. I mean, submarine cable can manufacture underground power cable as well as subsea cable. But the largest crane is only in the subsea factory, so we need to make use of both factories in Korea. As a conclusion, we are successful to deliver, and it is still undergoing, but our client can save the money and time and are still very satisfied with our performance. Next is the UK cases. I'll make it very briefly. Here, it is the second case. So our client wants to minimize the joint bay. So because cable route pass by the property of diverse landlord. So we manufacture 1,800 square millimeter of the aluminum cable, and the cable drum length is maximum 1,650 and average is 1,500. It means this long length cable is not installed only part of the cable route, but installed throughout the cable route. So, but anyway, thanks to this solution, our client can minimize conflict, and it is still going on, but until now it is very successful. Next page is brief picture of how we install long length cable. As you see, drum size is much larger than usual cable system. Now, let's expand our innovation to the large size, to the installation. I'd like to mention tunneling system here. And tunneling system is gathering more interest in GCC countries. So I think it is good time to think about tunneling system more seriously in the GCC countries. Our cable is operated in not in stable load current. And different load current might make different cable temperature. And then, due to the change of outside temperature and change of the cable itself, temperature of cable itself, cable is repetitively expanded and contracted. This situation will be more serious in the Gulf region due to the extremely hot weather in the summer. All of these conditions will affect cable very negatively. And more seriously, it will break down the cable and crack the sheaths of the cable. More than that, expected lifespan of the cable might be reduced dramatically. So our solution or suggestion for this one might be the tunneling work. This is general picture of how we install the tunneling system. So tunnel is installed from this point and installed throughout the tunnel. Cable is installed throughout the tunnel with the regular distance of the joint bay. And most prominent difference between direct barrier and tunneling system might be regular vertical shaft, which can flow the outside air inside the tunnel and expel the heated inside air to the outside of tunnel. As for the tunnel mode, our first option of installation might be shaking installation system. In this system, cable is laid tortuously so that cable can observe the force of contraction or expansion due to the heat of the cable. While horizontal cable, snaking cable system might require more space and more equipment because cable is laid side by side. But it is much more easier for installation and easier for future maintenance. On the other side, vertical installation system might need narrow place, but it will require more specific equipment because it needs to hold the cable in the small area. Also, we can consider advanced snaking installation system. While we cannot apply this system throughout the tunnel, but we can apply this technology in front of the joint. As you know, joint is much more sensitive and critical area of the cable. So we want to minimize the expansion and contraction of the cable, especially in front of the joint. So we lay the cable diagonally, not vertically nor horizontally, but diagonally. Through this technology, we can minimize the thermal expansion of the cable, and it can safeguard the joint. Finally, we can consider rigid installation system. We install the clit more closely than regular tunneling system. For your example information, we install the distance of the clit of this system is 1.5 meter, while the distance between for vertical or horizontal snaking system is 6 to 9 meters. This system is very useful when the space is very narrow and we need to hold on the cable very tightly without any movement. But it costs very high and it is not so easy to install. We only apply this system in the very critical small areas such as substation area. Finally, let's think about the ventilation system of tunneling. As you well know, we usually apply for natural ventilation system as well as forced ventilation system. Ventilation is required due to the heat of the cable during the operation. In order to maximize the operation of the cable, we need to maintain the temperature in a certain level. We usually suggest the natural ventilation when the cable current capacity is manageable by the ambient temperature of the tunnel. However, ambient temperature might go over a certain degree, such as 50 degrees of Celsius in the tunnel. We inevitably consider forced ventilation with air conditioning system. As you can see from the chart, air velocity is a little bit higher in the forced ventilation system thanks to air conditioning. This will help to reduce the heat of the cable. Considering that the supply of outer air is very critical for natural ventilation system. The shaft is much more in the natural ventilation system than forced ventilation system. And exhaust safety is much more as well. However, the shaft is shorter than forced ventilation in natural ventilation system than forced ventilation system, and it is very natural. Another solution might be water cooling pipe system. This picture is brief floor plan of the water cooling pipe system. Along with the cable tunnel, we install the cooling station, and from this point, we flow the chilled water through the pipe, which is installed on usually just under the ceiling of the tunnel. As you can imagine, this system is most effective but most expensive solution. So we only use or suggest this solution with a limited area or very sensitive route. This table simplifies the comparison of three ventilation or cooling systems. As I told you, the cooling water pipe system is the most highest in the performance and highest in the current capacity, cable capacity. And as you see, this is the pipe under the ceiling. And also, as you can imagine, the natural ventilation system is most convenient for installation and most economic solution. But in many cases, our decision might be on forced ventilation system because it is reasonable solution as well as good price, manageable price level. So, this decision tree might be the abbreviation of all of our talk today. For our decision on which type of innovation we need to select from our power grid solution. So if there is shortage of capacity, but it is not too much, then we can manage by changing of the cable design. And those might be expansion of conductor size or consideration of the millican type of cable, or otherwise we can consider enamel conductor. However, if the shortage of the capacity is quite huge, then we need to consider if it is seasonal, such as only in the summertime, or continuous. So if it is only seasonal, just in the summertime, then we can suggest that tunneling system with the natural ventilation might be enough. However, if the shortage is sporadic, continuous, then we check up the area of cable length. So if the area is very long or large, then forced ventilation of the tunneling system might be the good solution. However, the area is not too large and the system should be very carefully handled, then water cooling pipe system might be the last chance of our choice. I would like to finalize with our experience of the tunneling work with our Korean client, KEPCO, Korean Energy Authority. They request us to, their requirement is quite severe because they require 345 kV of 2,000 square meter or 2,500 square meter of cable in this tunnel. And they request full ventilation throughout the tunnel under the 40 degrees Celsius. And especially, the weather of Korea is very hot, and the route is quite long. So our decision is that we need to combine forced ventilation together with the water cooling pipe system. So, in the general tunnel, we apply forced ventilation throughout the tunnel so that you can manage the temperature in certain level of the certain degree of the temperature. And both ends of tunnel, we apply the water cooling pipe system because both end is connected to the substation, and the depth of the tunnel in the both ends is relatively shallow compared with the middle of the tunnel. Thanks to the tunnel, enough space of the tunnel, we can easily install total solution to CAPCO, including communication cable and control cable. Also, we set up the fire retardant system, fire protection system such as sprinkler, fire retardant material and paint, as well as fire retardant FRP foam, which can block the hole. Today, I would like to remind you that it is not so easy to develop new technology, but we can rethinking of our in-hand technology so that we can make good innovation and satisfy our client. It ranges from some simple innovation of cable to the new way of the cable installation. I have heard some worries about the market perspectives just after 2020 in the GCC region. But I don't worry about the future, because if we make good thinking and diverse thinking, innovative thinking, then we can overcome and make good business opportunities with our properties. And I hope all of us can lead this innovation together. Thank you very much for listening.